So actually, I don't think this time. Well, we could definitely show a trailer, but I would have to I'll have to delete it in post. Only because basically the last time I showed a trailer, um, without sound, mind you, it got
Jeez.
it got marked. Got marked for
Content
yeah,
ID.
yeah, for a content ID without sound. I can't believe. Really surprised.
Yeah,
Um,
that's like,
yeah, I don't really know how YouTube robobots had figured it out, but they did. Um,
hey, sniped.
so did anybody happen to see? So what is? Did anybody happen to see this movie besides us?
I can't blame you if you didn't. It's hard to get out to theaters nowadays, and then also, not everyone has HBO Max. So
That's very true. Yeah. Um, here. Yeah, not everybody has HBO Max. It's a picture inside of a picture inside of a picture. It's amazing. But yeah. So yeah, not everybody has HBO Max. I definitely say that that's kind of like one downside to this movie.
hmm
Unless you're on the high seas.
yeah, basically, it's kind of like, you know, uh, watch it however you're trying to watch it. If you're trying to watch it, not ever. This isn't everyone's bag. I just wanted to see it because I'm a big fan of the original, so of course I had to compare.
Yeah. No, I see. I actually do like the original quite a bit too, and I saw it as a kid. So you
Yeah,
know,
I kind of want to rewatch the original and like try to like. I know it's not possible to be objective, but I kind of want to be
cheers,
like,
guys.
how does it hold up to this one?
Yeah. No, I totally get that. How does it hold up? I can say that for me, well, see, I can't talk about the first movie in comparison without spoiling it at this point. Which, by the
Yeah.
way, guys, there will be spoilers. We're gonna go through the entire movie from start to finish. Um,
I mean, the weird thing about this movie is that there really isn't much to spoil. Like, it's not a movie where there's like plot twists and you're just wondering what the hell's going on. It's everything's very straightforward from like point A to point B.
yeah, I mean, it's not it. Well,
It's not an
yeah,
M Night. It's not an M Night Shyamalan. There's not a last minute twist that's gonna have you go like, what the fuck? Like, it's all very like, oh yeah, we're gonna
why are these children
by
aging?
by the power of love and friendship, we're gonna save the day.
Yeah, that's true. I okay, so I don't think okay, so one thing I noticed is that they didn't use that many practical effects. Um,
Well, I mean, so there's a weird thing where like they're animated in like 2D halfway through the movie, and then like halfway through the movie, the bad guy gives them an upgrade to 3D, and
yeah,
the movie looked way less cool in 3D than it looked in 2D. Like
yeah.
I get that it was like it's
Old school,
2021
yes.
and I guess we're gonna animate things in 3D, but like I was digging the old school like 2D tune feel of everything.
Yeah, I agree. Kat, are you leaving or are you staying?
Can't decide.
Yeah, literally standing in the doorway. All right, I decided to stay because cats. Um, but yeah, no, I thought that was a little bit jarring as well. You know, uh, I don't know. I think I'll tell you what. What did you think of the movie overall?
Um it was still fun. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8.
Yeah.
Because it kind of redeemed itself in the back half.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
but man, is LeBron corny in this movie? Oh my god! Like,
Well, I mean, it is a kids movie.
yeah, it is a kids movie, and like LeBron isn't a trained actor. I mean, he's a basketball player, but
True.
my god, did they just happen to be like the world's like corniest like dad in the beginning of the movie?
Yeah, I
It's
get.
just
Yeah,
like
I agree with that.
it's very cringe till about like halfway to 90% of the way through. Even like the touching scene with his son is kind of cringe, but like you just kind of you get used to it because it's supposed to be a family movie.
Gotta roll with it.
Um, you gotta roll with it exactly. But I don't know. Like it was better than I expected it to be. But still very much felt like more of kind of like a corporate cash grab than its own movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like for those who haven't seen it, basically it's not just like the first movie is limited to just the Looney Tunes, the Toonverse. This movie they're in the Serververse, which is how WB can like use all of the intellectual property they possess. So this movie is like it's basically like Ready Player Warner Brothers. Like
Yeah. Totally.
they have like Iron Giant references, DC references, Game of Thrones references,
Yeah.
Rick and Morty references. It's insane.
Yeah.
Austin Powers reference, like what, like who are these references even for? Like, do you really think like the parents taking their kids to see this are really gonna like? There's a Casablanca reference, like
Oh, yeah. That's weird. Yeah.
like.
Well, my whole thing is
Man,
like, how does it? It
yeah.
doesn't. Okay, so it doesn't. The whole thing of the universe
Mm-hmm.
kind of doesn't make sense to me because
The
it's like, oh,
serververse.
the serververse, right? Yeah, yeah. The because like, okay, so what was going on with the first movie? Wasn't it just like they were from a
It was just
different?
it was just a Toon World. Like he looked like LeBron, not LeBron. Michael Jordan got sucked through one dimension into the Toon World. I
Okay,
think it's been a while since I've seen the first one, but like I don't remember it being any more complicated than that. But this movie has to like go big or go home and expands it to the whole WB intellectual property universe.
right. Yeah. Um. I mean, I I'll tell you what. I think I liked the movie. I don't think it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's. I don't think it's bad. I don't think by any
no.
means it's a bad
At the
movie.
end of it, at the end of it, I was kind of surprised because from the trailers, I was not impressed by the trailers. I thought the movie looked terrible, judging by the trailers.
Yeah.
And actually, it's kind of cute in its own endearing way. Like it's not, it's not the, it's no, it's by no means groundbreaking, but the core of the movie holds together pretty well.
Yeah, it's fine, and it like it definitely does enough different than the first movie. I mean, it does tread some of the same beats, but it's not exactly like beat for beat the same as Space
Yeah,
Jam 1.
yeah. It's more of like it's more of a story of LeBron and his relationship with his son, which I thought was kind of an innovative way to kind of change the tone of the story up and have it be
Right.
different from the original.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I thought
yeah.
they could have changed a few things just to kind of made the movie a little bit like more interesting, but
Oh, there's a lot they could have done to make it more polished, but I liked that it was like LeBron realizing that to be a good dad means sometimes letting your kids be themselves. I guess like
yeah,
it was like I said, I don't entirely remember what the theme of the first one is, but the theme of this movie was definitely like be yourself, you know, which
definitely.
is a cute message. Yeah, it's a cute little message. LeBron realizing that in the beginning he was being like he was pushing his kids a little bit too hard towards the basketball. One of his kids is literally supposedly a freaking genius and like creates his own video games in his free time.
Yeah,
With his like $10,000 computer rig in his bedroom. That's the other funny thing. Like
straight
the
privilege.
yeah, the kids are so unappreciative. It's just like, Dad, you never let me do me. And it's like, what are you talking about? Your dad bought you the world's most expensive computer, and it's just sitting in your like 1,000 square foot bedroom.
And you have a
Um,
basketball court in your backyard with a
yeah,
machine that can voice command grab a ball out of thin air. Oh, not out of thin air, but like, you know what I mean?
yeah, like literally, just like the kid doesn't recognize how good he's got it, and then like LeBron is just like, yes, my kids are gonna grow up and do basketball, and it's just like that's such a weird like. I was reading a bunch of the reviews on Reddit, and it was so funny. Like it's like the opposite of like a normal family. The kid wants to grow up to be a programmer, and dad says, "No, I want you to focus on basketball."
Yeah,
like,
that is kind of strange. Well,
like,
his whole thing is like either you do it or you don't do it. There's no in between. I mean,
well,
I
yeah.
think
I mean, that was what LeBron was trying to say, but to
yeah,
a kid, that doesn't translate. That like he just seems like he's being kind of like a dick for no reason. You know what I mean?
yeah, I agree. Um, the I just thought like yeah, the whole thing is like, oh, I feel this privileged family, the privileged family struggles was all I could really think about. The whole
Yeah,
it's like I'm supposed to be interested in this rich family and their problems of their turmoils that I just didn't really think for that big of a deal.
yeah. It's
Um,
like no matter what the kids end up doing, they have set for life money. But
right, it's like how are you? It's true. It's like how are you supposed? Why are you supposed to relate to this situation that like no one, like literally
yeah,
nobody is gonna be in? Uh,
yeah, the original Space Jam didn't really like play up Michael's wealth. It wasn't like Michael had like literally the opening crawl of this movie. It says like the James estate or something like that,
yeah,
like the James compound.
I think they even like downplayed he just had like a normal looking house.
Oh yeah, in the original Space Jam, Michael Jordan just had a normal looking house. You know what I mean? It wasn't a mansion.
Right, yeah, he just had a big house. That's it.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
wasn't.
not that that's even practical, but still,
But it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like it
wasn't the
definitely felt
James.
like it wasn't the James estate. It definitely felt like rich people problems. The movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, you know, I guess the whole focus of the movie was just getting over LeBron being kind of an awkward parent, and learning to let his kid do the stuff he wanted to do, which I guess is a cute message. But I mean, yeah. So like the movie starts out at the LeBron James mansion. Um, well, actually, no. The movie, if we're gonna go way back, the movie starts out with like kind of just like the original movie where they do like a title crawl of like LeBron James' career. Like you don't already know who LeBron James is if you're going to see the movie.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in the first movie, they did have him as a
They did
kid,
do that.
and then they had the huge montage, and that's kind of
Yeah, they
like,
had the mod. Yep. So it was a lot like the original movie. I saw some complaints online that it would have been cool if they brought back like the Space Jam song, like "Come On and Slam," like for this movie. Like
I was
none of
waiting
the
for that.
yeah, none of the music from the original movie is in this movie, which is kind of a bummer because the original movie had some bangers.
Yeah, it's literally just like, wait, didn't they like make a reference to jock jams or something like that? I
I
think.
can't remember.
Yeah.
Was there like a pump up the jam scene? I can't like none of the like the songs you think Space Jam were in this movie. There might have been some other like stadium jams in this movie, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise that they didn't like. It was actually kind of like it actually surprised me how few references there were to the first movie as as was in this movie. Like there like they mentioned that like yeah there had been another movie before a couple times, but like you would think there would be like a couple direct references. And there
Right.
weren't really many in this movie that I saw. I mean, or that I thought like would really cement this as like this is Space Jam 2, you know what I mean? Like I guess they don't call it Space Jam 2, it's obviously Space Jam: A New Legacy, but you would
Yeah.
think there would be a little bit more reference. Like out of all the crazy references this movie has, you'd think they would reference the first Space Jam a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Um, but yeah, so like, um, the whole movie I was waiting for references, even though that's like not what you're supposed to want out of a movie.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. I mean, maybe I'm just kind of like
Yeah,
aiming for it, but
as someone who grew up in the era of the original Space Jam, you wanted references not to
something.
Rick and Morty, but to the original Space Jam. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they were unwelcomed, but at the same time, it's like at least give me something, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and they were very few. But yeah, so the kid is designing a video game in his bedroom. He wants to go to E3 design camp instead of basketball camp.
Yeah,
LeBron wants him to go to basketball camp. That's kind of like all the beginning of the movie stuff. And then we switch over to uh the villain's point of view, or the main antagonist in the movie, played by Don Cheadle, uh, uh, who is like, I don't want to say he's terrible in this. I mean, the man acted in Hotel Rwanda, but my God, like, was he the most cringy part of this movie, in my opinion? He plays a villain known as Algae Rhythm.
yeah,
Um,
Jesus,
I,
yeah.
I like, he's supposed to be the algorithm.
Hmm.
Um, and basically, I still don't entirely understand what his plan is. Like, the writing of the script in this movie is that thin, but I guess he wanted, like, originally, before he gets pissed off, he wanted LeBron James to help him roll out his new PR campaign for himself in, like, I don't, how the effects he has on the WB universe. It didn't
See,
really make sense.
yeah, okay, so his motivation, like they never like he just his whole motivation is like he doesn't get the credit that he deserves,
Yeah,
but they never elaborate on it more than that.
and he's a computer program, so it's like, what exactly do you want?
Why is
Like,
he sentient?
yeah,
I want to know
I
that.
did. Why does he look like? I didn't understand it. But like, it was Don Cheadle was so cringe in this. I don't understand. Like, one of the reviews I read online said, like, because Don Cheadle's just too serious in the movie. Like, he's not, like, some villains come off as serious but fun. He just comes off as serious, and it kind of ruins the movie. Because, like, this
Yeah,
this is one of those movies where you have to kind of check yourself out, and, like, recognize that it's kind of a joke the whole time if you want to enjoy it. Um, but like, Don Cheadle is like the one person taking the movie way too seriously, and it's kind of just making it like cringy more than fun. One of the reviews I read said it should have been Kevin Hart instead. That way, all of his like crazy outbursts would have been funny because it's Kevin Hart, and I'm like, I kind of totally agree. Like, I feel like Don Cheadle was miscast in this role.
yeah, but I mean, like he's stacking up to like what Danny DeVito. That was like the
Well,
original.
Danny DeVito wasn't even a villain in the original movie. He just kind of showed up, right? It was just like a cameo.
No,
Uh,
he was
oh,
the
was
voice.
he the bad guys?
He was the voice for the bad guy. Yeah.
But doesn't Danny DeVito physically show up in the original movie? I'm trying to remember.
I think you mean like at like the you think you're thinking of Bill Murray
Yeah, maybe.
because
I'm
like
trying to remember.
he shows up and he
Yeah,
plays basketball for the Toon Squad,
yeah.
but I
Okay.
don't know.
It's been so long since I've seen it. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, like, but Danny DeVito's a comedian, or he has comedic chops.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like they should have cast a comedian in this role rather than like serious actor Don Cheadle, because he just I something about him just chewing scenery in this movie rubs me the wrong way. Like, it's not
it did seem a
it,
little
it,
off. Yeah,
yeah, it's more cringe, and he does the villain way too like, he plays a villain like it's a dramatic role and not a kids movie, and it's just like, bro, this is a kids movie. Like, sir, this is a Wendy's. Calm down. Um, like like it's really funny. Like, there's scenes where, like, towards the end, where he just starts like talking shit to LeBron's kid just because they start to lose the game, and I'm like, okay, this isn't funny. This is just sad.
well, yeah, yeah. See,
Yeah,
like that
like
point, I kind of agree with.
you start to feel bad for, like, the kid and everybody involved in this. That it's just like, well, this is just Don Cheadle yelling at a kid. Like, this isn't fun. Um, But whereas if it were like Manic Kevin Hart, that would have been funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think yeah, I do think that it would have fit like a more of a comedic actor than uh, kind of he was Don Cheadle was very serious, and it's like I think that maybe part of the problem is like I still look at him and all I see is like Rhodey
yeah,
from
from
the
Iron Man or
like
the Avengers. Yeah, yeah. What is it? There was a great comment that I was looking at that someone was uh, like someone goes to their friend at the beginning of the movie, and it's just like, remember this guy was in Hotel Rwanda. Like it was just like
I've never seen that movie.
Oscar-winning actor
Oh,
Don
Don
Cheadle,
Cheadle.
yeah, plays villain in this. Like it was just like I don't know. Like they picked a dramatic actor when they should have gone with the comedian. That's kind of all the point I'm trying to make here. Is like the villain is just way too the villain is like way too serious where it should have been like over the top like fun. It should have been like over the top like manic energy.
Yeah, I mean like I don't think okay, so like I don't think that how do I put it? I just don't like I've never actually personally been like I never thought that Don Cheadle was a bad actor, but I've never thought
No,
he was amazing either.
no,
Um,
he's a good actor in roles he's well cast for. I
yeah,
just don't think he was well cast for this.
I think
Like
he's
I
just way
just
too serious all the time.
yeah, yeah,
He's too good of an actor to be around when you spend 90% of your time with LeBron James and Bugs Bunny, and then
yep,
you have him, and it just seems a little off.
yep. It, it
Totally
just
agree.
it yeah, it just fell off. Um, but yeah, so his plan was to get more famous, I guess. I don't know why a computer program needs to be more famous, but he just felt like his talents were unrecognized. Uh, so basically he invites LeBron to a sit down meeting where they pitch LeBron that they're going to digitize him and put him in whatever movie they want. Why any actor would accept a role like that, I have no idea, because that's basically stealing your image and likeness, which is what you make all your money anyway.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
it's literally like, oh hey, we want to take your likeness and put it in any movie we kind of feel like.
yeah.
And instead of like kind of elaborating on that and just being like, no, they're gonna take my likeness, they're just like, oh no, this is a dumb idea.
Yeah, like it wasn't just a dumb idea, it was a terrible idea. And like LeBron's terrible agent was like half into it and it was just like, no, this is like the worst idea ever.
By the way,
Like,
they never introduce his agent ever. He's
oh
just
yeah, you're just supposed to assume you know who he is.
yeah, through halfway through the movie, I had no idea who he was.
Yeah. Like
Um,
they could have had a throwaway line like LeBron says my agent, but no, it's just some guy LeBron hangs out with that you have to like assume he's his agent after the fact because why else are they hanging out?
well, that
Yeah,
and
that was dumb.
he had like okay, so he had like other kids too that weren't really in the movie until the end. So I'm like, is this one of his other kids?
Yeah, yeah, you
I
were
was
wondering, like, who the hell? Like, this is a grown adult, but is this another one of LeBron's kids? Yeah, it was very confusing.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I thought for sure. I was like, oh yeah, LeBron's kid is in this one of LeBron's kids. By the way, I looked it up, and none of them are actually his children. Which
Yeah, I was a little, I was gonna look that up too. I never got around to it, but I'm a little sad.
yeah, they're not his kids.
Yeah, I figured. I knew that wasn't his wife because she's the lady from Star Trek, Sonequa Martin Green.
Oh,
Is
the
the
newer Star Trek.
yeah the Star Trek Discovery. She's the lead character in Star Trek Discovery.
I never watched Discovery.
It's not good, but it's not bad. It's
Okay,
weird.
yeah,
It has some good ideas, but it was just terrible execution.
right.
But that's a lot of shows nowadays. So I don't want to be too harsh on it. Uh, but Cynical Martin Green's a good actor. She's been in a lot of cool stuff. It's just like she all she has to do is play LeBron's wife in this movie, so it's not like this was the role
Yeah,
of the year.
she doesn't really do anything. I mean, she
Yeah,
does, but not like it's nothing that like is largely involved with the plot.
yeah. I don't even think they kissed once. I was like, I wonder if that's in LeBron's contract. Like LeBron's wife is like, no, you can't kiss this other woman.
You
What are
can't
you
kiss
doing?
anybody.
But yeah. Yeah, Sonequa Martin Green does her job. She collects her paycheck. She played her role. She did her small role confidently. Um, there's not much more to really say about her character in this movie, but I mean, she basically plays like the mom foil to like encourage LeBron to like stop acting like a butthead and encourage his son to do what he wants to do and not
Yep.
what LeBron wants to do.
Yeah, but before she shows up later on in the movie, there's
Hmm.
nothing that implies that that's how she feels.
Well,
If you
no,
really think about it.
There's that one scene where they're about to go to bed after like the first night when you're introduced to LeBron and his family, and she's like, "Do you even notice like what your son created a video game in his own room?" And LeBron's like, "Yeah, I noticed," and it's just like she basically just is implying that he doesn't pay enough attention to his son. Which I mean, to be fair, he kind of does it.
Yeah,
So, but yeah,
I
I
think
mean.
last we were they had gotten. Wait, did they already go to the serververse? Oh no.
No, so we were getting there. Basically, I was talking about algorithm and how he invited LeBron down to the meeting. He gets pissed off when LeBron calls out his terrible idea as a terrible idea. And then he like Eagle Eye, like he basically like takes over the computer at WB headquarters and like takes over the elevator and sends them down to the server level, or he transports them into his like virtual universe of all the collected WB intellectual properties. Um, but yeah, I mean, essentially, he like kidnaps them into his universe, his digital universe. Um, and then has the zany idea to be like, okay, well, you and your son are now trapped in the virtual universe. So to get your son back, you're gonna have to beat me in a game of basketball. And I guess his plan is to get more famous by like using social media to like have people watch the game or something. Like
The
nothing
more
makes sense in like the premise of this
the more you
setup.
explain it, the more I'm like, yeah, none of this is like, it really doesn't make sense. It's really stupid. It's like it's sort of like and if you think about it, it's like the idea that the people that work at Warner Brothers let a computer decide their ideas instead of coming up with new ones. They would
Oh,
just
it seems a little bit too on the nose. Like
it's kind of meta.
yeah, it seems too accurate. Like this movie was designed by bad committee, uh, more or by algorithm more than it was designed by a competent writer. Because holy crap, does it not make sense?
Yeah,
Like
of
in
an
the
old
original,
movie, which
yeah,
they were
like
going to
it,
take LeBron and put him in movies that already existed. Essentially,
yeah,
was their implication.
yeah, like nothing about algorithm's plan makes sense. Nothing about the setup to the basketball game and the script really makes sense. In the original Space Jam, it all kind of made sense. Like there was the aliens, the alien like overlord had a theme park and he wanted like famous people in his theme park.
Yeah,
This it's just that the algorithm wants to be more famous, so he challenges LeBron to a basketball game. Like I still
yeah,
kind of don't
it
get
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't connect. Yeah, for sure.
it.
Uh,
I'm still like, what? But why does this help you? I don't. And then even on top of that, what's worse is that like he says like if LeBron loses the video game, he's stuck there forever. I'm like, what's the point of keeping LeBron there forever? Like, do you just want
they
friends?
actually, yeah, they
Does
never
he just want
elaborate
friends?
on that. They just say you got to be here forever because I'm a bad guy.
It's like, don't ask questions just because.
Stop
Like,
asking questions, LeBron.
yeah, like you're slowing the movie down. Like, don't ask questions. But like it was like does this algorithm just want friends? Like, because like he just at like later on in the movie he starts kidnapping people into the the people that like tune in to watch the game. He kidnaps into his digital universe to actually be like digital fans or physical fans in the universe in the
Yes.
stands.
Yeah.
And he says that if LeBron loses, they're going to be stuck there too. And it's just like, do you just want more people to watch? Like, I don't understand.
It
Like,
doesn't. They never explain why. They never
yeah,
explain like what's the negative implications of that. Why
like
he's doing what he's doing.
why is he kidnapping people? Like, I don't understand. Why is he kidnapping more people?
It's
Like,
it's literally just like I'm
I
evil.
I can understand why he wanted to kidnap LeBron because then maybe he could like enact his plan of using LeBron in a bunch of movies. But like
Right.
kidnapping a bunch of other random people that aren't famous in any way, that don't matter in any way to his plan, just it seems so arbitrary. Like it's almost like, oh, you're just being extra evil for no reason.
Yeah, for sure. Um.
Uh, but what were you gonna say? Were you gonna say something?
Oh no, it's just it's sort of like the more like it's kind of falling apart as we go. But yeah, I think like wasn't it after that he kind of goes to the Toon World, like he starts
Yes.
to
Yep. Yeah. So basically, he explains the rules, even though he changes them later to kidnap more people. But he explains the rules about like, hey, if you want your son back, you gotta play me a basketball game. And LeBron's like, you gonna play me in basketball? Like, and it's just like, I mean, you're LeBron James, but you're playing a digital avatar in a fictional universe. Like, you don't think you know everything, LeBron. Um, but yeah, so basically he sends LeBron down to Toon World. He's just like
the quote
uh
rejects.
to the rejects, yep. And it's just like, here, you have 24 hours to assemble your squad.
Right.
Um so he lands down on Toon Planet. Um and basically finds out that it's like a ghost town. Like no one's there. He spends like the first 5 minutes looking for people. And then he encounters like a half psychotic Bugs Bunny who's basically gone like half insane from like being alone because all the other tunes, I guess, pieced out of Toon World to the rest of the serververse. Just because algorithm said it was cooler out there.
Yeah,
Um
he's just like, oh, you can explore wherever you want to go, and then they somehow leave separately. And then oh no, wait, I think they got on like a spaceship.
they got like a rocket or something like that.
Yeah,
How how they end up at multiple locations, I don't know. Maybe the rocket made several stops along the way, but like they're just out. The dumbest thing is they're just like out in the other DC property universes causing like fucking shit up, causing trouble, which is just like, I guess that's more fun than like hanging out on Toon World, but like even then it makes zero sense. Like it was just like they first meet like Daffy and Porky in like the DC universe,
yeah. Oh,
where Daffy is trying to get into the Justice League by hijacking a train and then saving it in like the same like 5 minutes.
yeah. I mean, you forgot the point. Like the reason why they kind of go there is because LeBron makes all these ideas to like of
Oh
people
yeah,
they
so
can
yeah, so
recruit.
LeBron must have like a photographic memory of like all the DC properties or Warner Brothers properties because he
Yeah,
actually knows like what's WB property like offhand. Like he's just like assembling a list of like, oh yeah, we got to get Superman, we
yeah.
got to get the Iron Giant, we got to get King Kong. Like I'm like, go LeBron. Like
Batman was on there too.
Batman was on there. Like shit, LeBron knows his movies if nothing else. Um, but then like Bugs Bunny's plan is like he doesn't want any of that. He just
Yeah,
wants to get his Cougar back. So he's poo pooing LeBron's plan. He's just like, I don't know if you are gonna be able to get those guys. Like this isn't Miami. He's making jokes about like LeBron's old super teams that he was on and saying like, I don't know if we have the salary cap for a super team, you know what I mean?
right.
Like
Kind of
it
also
was
like a meta joke about like affording those IPs.
yeah. Yeah. It was actually that was one of the more clever jokes in the movie. They had a couple funny ones. That one was kind of funny.
Yeah,
But yeah, so basically Bugs tricks LeBron into, instead of like grabbing the DC or the Warner Brothers properties that he wants, he tricks him into reassembling all his like Toon crew, so they can playing the basketball game. And it's a kind of funny montage because basically they go around from like random WB property to random WB property,
Yeah.
um, assembling the Toon Squad. So
Yeah,
like this is
all of the tunes happen to be at all the places that they're looking. Um, I think like Bugs knows where they are, but whatever.
yeah. So this is where you see like the Rick and Morty reference, like Rick and Morty drop off Taz.
Yeah, they're
It-
like, we don't know what's wrong with him. It's
yeah,
unfixable.
they say he has some type of unfixable disease or something like
Right?
that.
Yeah, like it's
That was kind of
unfixable. You can have him back.
yeah. Um, yeah. I think the Granny is like trapped in the Matrix or something like that. So like
Yeah,
LeBron and Bugs Bunny show up in like long black trench coats, and they recruit like Granny and I think Tweety or something like out of the Matrix verse.
and they're like, we got to get in the 360 cameras and the slow
Yep.
motion kicks from the
Yep.
first Matrix movie.
Yep. All that nonsense. Um, it was Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, he was like dodging bullets or something like
Yeah,
that.
like Neo.
Yep. Um, but yeah, so there's an Austin Powers reference. I can't remember what about. But there's one of those.
It was Austin Powers and Porky Pig was Mini Me.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was kind of funny. And then one of the cats was like all shaved and was being pet by Doctor
Yeah,
Evil or something like that.
Sylvester was Doctor Evil's Egyptian cat,
Yep.
Egyptian bald cat,
So shaved Sylvester. Yeah.
which they basically
Uh
just took everybody and like cut them out of a scene and then just superimposed
oh
a
yeah, it
Looney
was it
Tune
was
over them.
it was super cheesy. Um, but yeah, so Bugs and LeBron finish assembling their crew. Um, they go back to the Toon World to start practicing. Of course. Oh wait, no, we didn't go over Lola. So of course, like the last member
Yeah,
of the squad, Bugs has to assemble is Lola. She's basically the star of the team, so she's like one of the only characters that, even from the first one, actually played well. Um, so she's busy on one of the DC universes, chilling with like Wonder Woman, trying to become an Amazon, just because. Um, and like Bugs and LeBron come by during her like the last of her Amazon trials and start fucking her up, just because
yeah, they're like
they're
distracting her from the trials.
yeah, they're like distracting her from the trials. So at the last second, as like LeBron and Bugs are about to fall in the lava, she saves them, but she ends up failing a trial because of it. And like she's about to be super sad, but then like Wonder Woman's like, I mean, you saved your friends, like that's pretty heroic to me. You passed, I guess.
Yeah,
We'll
totally.
give you the dub.
Yeah, I mean, like they were saying, well, sometimes being a hero is something or other. Blah blah blah. You get to be an Amazonian.
Yeah. And she was pretty psyched about that, but basically long detour. They go. She's back on the Toon Squad now. Oh yeah. So basically, the only thing that makes Lola turn around and decide to help them was like LeBron said he was out to rescue his son.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's only because it was for a good cause
yeah,
that
totally.
she even decides to help them out.
It's for
But
the humble brag.
yeah, she does decide to help them out because of course she's a bunny with the heart of gold.
Yes.
Um. So squad assembled. They go back and start practicing. Pretty much everyone's terrible except for Lola, which we already expected.
Right.
Um, and then basically we switch perspectives to the villain, and algorithms busy buzzing up LeBun's son, like telling him he can be anything he wants to be in the Secret Serververse.
Mhm.
And that his dad will only respect him if he beats him in his own game. So like uh algorithm steals the code to Dom's LeBron's son,
Yeah.
Dom's video game, and like boosts all his stats and like gives LeBron a bunch of like video game powers. And basically makes him like assemble crew from a bunch of NBA players he like scanned into his video game.
Yeah, which I was kind of confused about, like whether they were the real people or not, or whether they were just like just
Yeah, so I
created
think he
characters.
I think he scanned their likeness originally into the game and had them as real people. But then, like in this scene, he like takes other random animals he scanned, like a tarantula. Like LeBron's son just has a tarantula that hangs out in his room, no cage, just hangs out.
Yeah, word. Yeah.
But he scanned all these other random animals into his game. That's just his hobby or whatever. And then he combines them with the players. So now there's like Snake Lady Diana Taurasi, and like a bunch of other NBA players
Yeah,
combined with
like a
other
bird and like water and fire.
yeah, and like a one spider. Really weird, but I mean, it's definitely a less cool design than like the designs of the aliens from the original Space Jam.
Oh, and a robot.
Yeah,
And a robot for
there's a
reasons.
robot too. Yeah, for reasons.
Well,
But
the water fire one's like the most confusing to me.
yeah, it was what was the name? It even had a stupid name. It was like Wet Fire.
It was like hot. Yeah, it was like it was like hot fire or no, sorry, wet. Yeah, I think it was like wet fire.
Yeah, it was like Wet Fire. Like that's like who wrote this? Like this is just bad, bad naming. But yeah, so they assembled their goon squad to go up against LeBron in this playoff series. So yeah, basically the game. Am I forgetting anything? I think they start the game.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, they kind of like there's like a scene where like the mom comes and she's like trying to find LeBron and
Oh yeah, yeah.
whatever. And then basically they wind up basically just on a basketball court to practice for the game, and then they just decide that they're gonna have the game right then and there, like
Oh
abruptly.
yeah,
Happens very
yeah, yeah,
abruptly.
yeah, yeah. So the timer that algorithm had left on the Tomb World finishes counting down. And then like it expands into like its own basketball court and like plops down on the Tomb World.
Yeah,
Uh, algorithm like pops out of it, and like turns all of the 2D, like everything had been 2D up to that point, even LeBron. And they turn all like the tunes from like 2D to 3D. Which I feel like their designs in 3D like way less cool, but it's 2021, so
yeah.
no one wants to spend the time on 2D animation. Um, but yeah, so everything's computer generated now.
Oh,
The
so I guess also like a side note, Ryan Coogler was a producer on this movie.
yeah, I think
He's the guy who made
about
like
Black Panther.
Black
He's
Panther,
direct.
and he also made a Creed.
Yep, yep. Um, as I said, like producers one of those vague credits where like you don't know how much like of an actual effect they had on the movie. Because like I definitely think this should have gone through a couple more script changes to make it better. But it was still passable. As I said, I still would have given it a 7 or 8 out of 10. Like I noticed he didn't direct. He's just an EP. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. As I said, my biggest complaint about this movie is that I feel like Don Cheadle's miscast. If they had cast like someone else as the villain, I think this movie would have felt a lot less kind of contrived.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so basically it's almost beat for beat the same as the original Space Jam after the game starts. Oh yeah, like before the game starts, of course, algorithm like kidnaps all the fans on social media into the game.
Yeah, anybody
As
who had like who was gonna rent the game or whatever through social media or was watching it gets sucked into it. And he also brings in all of the people from other like WB worlds and Toon
oh yeah, but you notice they're
lists.
all villains, right? So it's not even just all the people. Like this was like one of the weirder parts about it. But if you
Yeah,
pay close attention to all the characters in the background,
I did. Yeah.
um, yeah, it's all like the villains from WB properties. So like the
Well,
Night King's there,
yeah,
uh, Joker's there, the non Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze is there,
it.
uh, it was there. Yeah,
Yep.
Pennywise the Clown was there.
They had like
The
the Iron Giant, King Kong.
yeah,
Uh,
the Droogs from Clockwork Orange, which is a
what?
real weird deep cut.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
never expected that.
yeah, that was a little like, okay, we're gonna put these rapists into a movie and just hope that people forget that they're rapists.
I've never actually seen a Clockwork Orange, so um,
Yeah.
but that like they kind of like had all of these like discount actors playing pretty much
Oh
all of
yeah,
these
there were definitely
people.
some like bargain bin cosplay level costumes.
Yeah,
Like it didn't.
you could clearly tell that they weren't uh you know they weren't the original actors who played them
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
it definitely didn't look like the original characters from the original properties. Like even Pennywise's costume was like not good.
Yeah,
Uh,
totally.
but yeah, so a bunch of WE villains and a bunch of random kidnapped fans in the stands, and of course, one of the last families he kidnaps is LeBron's family into the game. So now, like the mom and LeBron's, I think, daughter and other son are watching on the sidelines. But yeah, I mean, they start the game and it's basically beat for beat, almost the first Space Jam. Like they're losing really, really bad, until they're not.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, until
but
the
yeah,
halftime.
until the halftime.
Well, you have to also explain that the points the point system in basically it turns out to not be exactly basketball. It turns out to be like the just like the Suns game that he created. So in the Suns game, there's like all of these power ups and stuff and like stats, but there's also things like style points that take into fact like that become a factor. So like how you scored or like actually sometimes not even if you scored, just for fucking shits and giggles, they kind of like will just give you style points. I think. Um,
Yeah. That's true. Because like, there's a scene later where like there was no scoring involved and they got points for it.
yeah,
But
but by like the halftime, it's like they wind up having the bad guys have like 1,000 points up on the Toon Squad, and I don't even think like the Toon Squad had any points, right?
yeah, they had like 39 or something like that. Um, so yeah, it was just like they were getting absolutely obliterated until halftime. And then of course halftime, they basically have like, you know, before we get to like the rousing speech, which brings them back into it, they have to have a gag. Um, that basically, I can't remember if it was who it was. Was it Sylvester or Daffy? I think it was Daffy. Daffy's like, "Hey guys, I found Michael Jordan in the stands. He's gonna come help us out."
Yes. Yeah.
And then like,
Yeah.
there's like a shadow and a silhouette, and like the Bulls entrance music comes on, and you're wondering if it's actually gonna be like Michael Jordan as like a reference to the first film. And it ends up being Michael B. Jordan.
Right. Yeah.
So then he shows up and like tries to give like a speech of like Friday Night Lights, or one of the chants from like Friday Night Lights, but then like they just toss him out because they're like, Michael B. Jordan, you can't play basketball. What are you doing? Get out of here.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was really funny. I think that was like one of the better jokes of the movie, at
I
least for
thought
me.
so too.
I got a laugh out of it.
Yeah, I definitely got a chuckle when Michael B. Jordan came out. And they're like, we wanted Michael A. Jordan, not Michael B. Jordan. But yeah, that was clever.
So like this is the point where the foreshadowing from earlier on in the movie comes back about parenting, and like basically it's it's LeBron's saying like, well, we really want to be like Tunes and we don't want to play strict
Hold on.
basketball. We want to have
Yeah,
fun.
give me like 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Hold on. I gotta go run downstairs.
Well,
I mean, essentially, you're right. It was like, LeBron realizes that like his expectations of his kid were the problem. Like not letting his kid be himself was the problem,
yeah.
and that's why he needs to do something different. So yeah, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
But yeah, so he wound up giving the speech, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So basically, yeah, LeBron is like, uh, he basically says like he realizes that. Oh yeah, okay. So the Looney Tunes are all like he like they're having like a heated speech in the locker room, and Lola basically was just like, "We're just trying to be like you, LeBron," and he's just like, "But that's the problem. You can't be like me because I'm LeBron." Like it doesn't like I know he means something different, but it basically sounds like you can't be me. I'm already me. Like I'm
Yeah,
already the best. Can't be like the best.
yeah.
You gotta be.
Essentially, it's
Yeah.
like as much as you want to, you'll never be LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, like, that, like, I mean, like, I feel like that wasn't like that's not what they mean to say, but that's basically what they kind of imply.
Right.
Uh, when that scene happens. But yeah, I mean, basically, it's him figuring out that like, and like this was the dumb part all along because LeBron was like always like, you got to play solid fundamental basketball.
Yeah.
Like he literally said fundamental basketball I think like 5 times in the movie. But I'm like, bro, you're playing with the Looney Tunes. Like, obviously use their like Looney Tune like freaking magic powers and like win the game. Like his whole time about him telling him not to do their loony shit was like, LeBron, you're missing the point, bro. Like you're literally in the Toon verse. Like use the Toon magic. But yeah, I mean, he basically realizes that like to win, like they got to use like the crazy Looney Tune powers they were born with. Because I mean, why not? You have nothing to lose at this point.
Right.
Um. So yeah, I mean, he realizes that like to win, like
You
his
gotta let
teammates.
people be themselves.
Yeah, you gotta let people be themselves. You gotta let them play to their strengths. Which you would think he already would have figured out being an NBA player and realizing that not everyone can be LeBron, but I guess he had to be reminded of that.
No, you don't
Uh,
get it. There would be no
there'd be no story arc
there'd be no
if he
story
didn't.
arc whatsoever. It would just be
If,
like, let's play
if he knew the team
basketball.
exactly. Um. So yeah. Essentially, he realizes that like he's got to let the Looney Tunes be loony. So they come out with newly invigorated height. They do like a reintroduction like it's the beginning of the game. They come out like for halftime, like it's all hype. I think they even do like a Porky Pig rap battle, like
Oh yeah, like 8 Mile
yeah,
or
like
something.
yeah, like it was some random thing happens. I think like algorithm picks up a mic or something, and then like a rap battle music comes down, and he's like, "Oh man, I didn't mean to start a rap battle." And then like Porky Pig starts rapping. It's literally the cheesiest, lamest rap of all time. But I guess the game decides to give him style points for that, so they got like 40 points for that or something like that. As I said, like this game has style points, so you technically don't even need to score now, and you can get points for it.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, so the rap battle scene from the trailer happens. It's just as bad as you expected. But it's over quickly, so that helps. After that, the Looney Tunes figured out that just by doing loony shit, they can win. So, like, I think Wile E. Coyote, like, is basically like if there were an MVP trophy, he should have been MVP because he scores like I think like 540 points for them just by like using a ball multiplier and like shooting like a million balls into the hoop or something dumb like that. It's just like a bunch of like crazy Looney Tunes gags.
Yeah,
But eventually they do base even up the score. And then algorithm starts freaking out because he's about to lose. And starts like ragging on LeBron's kid. So of course LeBron's kid decides to switch teams. He's just like, no, I'm gonna go play with my dad because family, like
yes,
Don Toretto said.
Fast Nine.
Yep. Uh, so yeah, like LeBron's kid switches teams. He's now on a Toon Squad. So there's like a couple more plays. I think it's down to like a 1 point difference, and then like uh, basically kind of like the original. Well, it's not even kind of like the original. It's basically like within the last second, there's like a slow mo scene where LeBron's going up to dunk. You think he's not gonna make it, But then his kid tosses like a LeBron a power up that he bounces off of last second. And like it hits him, and he like finishes the dunk.
The chaos
Um,
dunk.
yeah. Uh, the new Toon Squad wins. Algorithm gets like literally turned into a poster. Because he got posterized. It was like
That didn't make
some
any sense. Like, why?
well,
Why?
yeah. There's a scene in the beginning of the movie where uh posterize is like a score multiplier you can get if you dunk on somebody
Oh,
um in the video game. So
well,
I guess like in the digital world you actually get turned into a poster. Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot. Okay, so but the before god, my memory's terrible. I watched this movie today, I'm already forgetting stuff. Um so how they win is Bugs Bunny basically decides to commit suicide
yeah.
because
Ritual Sudoku.
uh Sudoku because since they're playing Dom's game, Dom is like uh so algorithm when Dom quits, when Dom switches sides, algorithm decides to come into the game himself.
Yeah.
And of course, being the evil boss, he has the power to like even reverse the score. So like Lola Bunny had made a point, and he like snaps his fingers and activated a cheat code, and it like takes away the points.
Oh
So it's like,
yeah.
yeah, that was just this really dumb scene. But they're like, how will we take back control of the video game? And like Dom realizes that like there was a scene in earlier on where he crashed his game by using LeBron's like step back crossover. So he's like, if someone repeats the same step back crossover, we can glitch out the game and we can win
It'll
and
stop the cheat codes from working.
stop the cheat codes from working. So of course LeBron volunteers to do this, uh, because he's not a video game character. So I mean, it probably wouldn't kill him, right? Like that's his logic. And like with all the logic of this movie, that actually seems like decent enough logic. Like it seems perfectly reasonable that made sense. But no, Bugs Bunny has to be Bugs Bunny and steal the limelight, so he decides to do it. So
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny, because I guess he wants to be the one, um, decides to commit virtual Sudoku and do the step back move.
Right.
Um, and he does it. He causes the game to glitch. Of course the Toon Squad wins, but then like everyone's sad at the end because like Bugs is basically like glitching out of like the serververse and about to die. And like it's one of those like scenes where like, yeah, it's this kid's movie and they're probably gonna reverse it, but literally like one of the last scenes before like after LeBron leaves and gets teleported home is like Bugs just like lying on his back with like the whole Toon Squad around him,
Yeah.
and then he like turns into like a star and like flies off. So it's
And
just
he
like,
becomes like almost like a constellation or something like
yeah,
that in space.
he becomes light, and it's just like,
Comes
my
godlike.
God, did LeBron kill Bugs Bunny? Like this is sad now. Um, like the movie almost ends on like a bittersweet note. Um,
And if it did, I thought I'd be like for sure there's gonna be a Space Jam 3.
oh God, no, please don't do this to anyone. Uh, but yeah, so you're not sure if Bugs Bunny's dead. But then it's like 1 week later and they're back in like the real world, and I think LeBron is like taking his kid off the camp. And the kid thinks he's going to like basketball camp, but like LeBron takes him to the E3 camp, which was cute. It was like LeBron finally realized that his kid had other talents besides basketball. But right after that, like when LeBron's about to walk back home, Bugs Bunny shows up and he's just like, "Guess who I'm bringing? The whole two crew. We're all gonna like sleep over at your house
In the real world. And
in the
how?
real world."
We don't
How
know.
is he in the real world? Yeah, we don't know. Like, I guess by dying he unlocked the powers of coming to the real world or something. Like,
He
none of it
became a
makes sense.
god.
He did.
I at first I thought like, oh, Bugs is now stuck in the real world. And
That
that
yeah, which could have been interesting.
yeah, because I mean if for a third movie,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe that could have like been a setup or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But no, he just unlocked the powers of a god, and now he can travel between universes.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so as I said, this movie came together and it ended up being a lot better than I expected it to be. It turned out to be a lot more heartfelt than I expected it to be. Um, if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. But like, my God, was Don Cheadle miscast? Like, just the brutal. Not even like people are going to be talking about how bad he was for this movie. I think for a while to come because he was just that bad a fit for this movie. Like he's far and away the worst part of this movie.
Yeah,
Um, and LeBron is passable. I mean, he's not a good actor, but I mean,
I would
it's a movie about
say,
basketball. He doesn't have to do a whole lot.
yeah, I'd be honest and say like I thought he's a lot better than I expected him to be. I thought he was going to be he's a better actor than Michael Jordan was. Um, to be fair, if you rewatch the movies, in terms of acting, you know he's like maybe a level above Michael Jordan, but
Yeah,
not by much.
I can believe that. I can believe that. But I mean, he still delivers most of his lines in a pretty flat tone.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. Yeah.
some of the facial expressions in some of the scenes are just like, really, bro? Like that's the face you went with in the final.
Did
Okay.
you ever notice that the teleporting power that they use to like teleport people in and out looked the same as the Tomorrow War?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it looked like the exact. In the future,
Same
they
VFX.
have that
Yeah,
technology.
apparently they must. Um, yeah. Lil Rel was pretty funny. Like the two commentators. That's who are on screen right now. If you're watching.
I have no idea why they put Little Rel in there. Like I didn't know. I was not expecting him to be in the movie.
Yeah, I wasn't either, but I thought he helped. He was the color commentary, and it was actually kind of funny.
I would have like preferred them to put like Shaq in there or something like that, or you know
That would have,
maybe
yeah, that
Shaq.
might have been better.
And
That might,
it would have made more sense if they put Shaq and oh my god, what's that dude's name? He was in the first movie.
not inaccurate. Bill Murray,
No, the basketball player. Um,
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Would have made more sense if they put
Yeah,
Charles Barkley in there. Like
yeah, that would have been better
maybe
too.
he
I
could have made
agree.
some meta commentary or something like that on
I
like what was
yeah,
going on.
I agree with you. They could have picked other commentators, but I mean, the ones that they did pick for the movie did a good enough job. But yeah, I mean, Shaq and Charles Barkley are hilarious. That would have been grade A.
And I bet they tried, but for whatever reason, they did. I mean, they probably couldn't get Michael Jordan to be in.
Agree to come back? Oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
I mean, like it would have been really cool if they got him though.
That's
Um,
why, like, I knew something was up when they said Michael Jordan was coming back because I'm like, it's not going to be the real Michael Jordan. So how are they going to bait and switch me?
yeah, it's like oh Michael B. Jordan, and I'm like oh my god, I laughed pretty hard at that. Um,
Yeah.
and it was really good. And also, like I forgot that there was like a sort of like a love sort of uh like it's an implied like emotional connection that Bugs Bunny and Lola Bunny have.
Yeah,
Um,
I think there's kind of an implied crush there, but
yeah,
um, they didn't really do anything with it. In fact, like honestly, like I feel like in this movie they tried their hardest to not have Lola Bunny be like a sex symbol. Cause like in the first one there was definitely a couple scenes where she was working it. In this movie she was all business, you know what I mean?
oh for sure,
Like they took out any of the implied like might cause kid.
sexuality. Yeah,
Yeah, they took out any of like anything that could possibly turn a kid into a furry down the road. They just took out.
rest in peace. I mean, it's too
The,
late. The wheels have been set in motion.
the wheels have been set in motion. I know, right? Because they're gonna go back and watch the first one, and then it's all over.
The wheel of fate is turning.
Yep. Or if they watch Zootopia, it's just gonna be too much for them. But
All the Fox and Bunny action. I don't know.
yeah, but
It's bound to happen.
yep. But yeah, I mean, as I said, this was better than it had any right to be. I think kids will enjoy it.
Yeah.
I worked at a summer camp a couple years back. I tried to show them Space Jam. it was too boring for them. We had to switch movies.
It was boring. It was too
Um,
boring. What did they say? They were like,
yeah,
"No,
so
I
like
can't watch
no, the
this."
kids stopped paying attention, and then it was just like once the kids like start paying attention, like and getting rowdy, you have to like you got to find some new distraction for them. So we had to switch movies. But as I said, I think with like the super frenetic editing and like all the different random references and random stuff in this movie, it definitely felt like a 2000. Definitely felt like a 2021 movie. Like it felt like more the speed of kids nowadays. And I could definitely see some kids nowadays enjoying it.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
do I think do I think it was a great movie? No. Do I think it was even as good as the first one? No. I think the first one kind of found its own niche and had a little bit more charm
Yeah,
than
I
this
would
movie.
agree. Yeah, this
Uh,
one wishes it could have as much charm.
it
Uh,
does.
did you see that the original director like shit on this movie?
Yeah, I know that the original director left. But
Uh,
that's what I was saying. Like it was probably just too much studio meddling. Like all the random dumb WB references
well,
didn't have.
he made commentary. He like had a he made a public statement about the
Oh,
new
what did he
Space Jam.
say?
He said that the movie had no soul and that it took him 5 times to finish it.
Yeah.
But he just didn't. He hated it. So,
Was this the director that actually finished it or the director that left?
the original director of the first Space Jam. I don't know if he was involved in this one or not.
Oh, okay. So this was the director of the first Space Jam.
Yeah,
So I know this movie in particular actually switched directors halfway through. Like there was a director that left that I just wasn't having it with whatever the studio wanted him to do. They had to actually bring on a new director. So this movie's production was definitely difficult.
right.
Uh, for a while there, I mean LeBron's wanted this for years. Uh, and
Has he talked about it like in the past? Like saying he
I mean
wanted to be in Space Jam too?
yeah. He's always like people have known he's wanted to be in a Space Jam movie the past 10 years. It was just getting the movie made that really was like kind of the hurdle. And of course, with how the script turned out, like I could kind of see why. I mean, like I bet the script spent a long time in development hell. It probably should have spent a little longer because
I
there was
agree.
still stuff that
Yeah,
were a little undone. Like the villain has no clear motivation, which
yeah.
is
If I had to change like one thing about the movie, and this is like sort of like a big one for me, and I think it would make the movie better, is if of course the villain had more direction, like in what he was trying to do, and let's say the setup for LeBron going to Toon World made more sense. Like I know they didn't want to. It seems like they didn't want to do like, oh well, the Toons are in trouble. They have to play basketball for some reason. They went in the opposite direction, having it like the opposed to the first one, where the second one, they had everything happen in the real world to kind of bring them into the Toon World, which the fact of them like, okay, so Space Jam implies that like the Toon World is just another planet off in the distance, and we just somehow are, we view it or something like that, something silly, in
yeah.
TV world.
I know. I guess all of the IP in the WB universe is in its own little section of the serververse, and then when we log onto the internet through our HBO Max accounts,
Yeah, however the
um,
hell.
or however the hell you do it, like you access their universe to watch their show or something. I'm
What
not
if
really sure
this?
what's in
What
way.
what if this was just like one giant advertisement for HBO Max?
I mean, that's kind of how it feels. That's kind of the
Yeah,
problem.
that's what I think. I think it was just one giant, one
Yeah,
giant pitch for HBO Max, and like, oh, you could look at all the things you could watch on here, and then obviously they tried to do the thing where they still threw like advertisement into it, like in the
yeah.
first
Like this,
movie.
this movie feels like a weird meta commentary about how like they want to use LeBron's likeness to pimp WB products, but
Yeah,
if you look at it for another level, they use LeBron's likeness to pimp WB products.
exactly. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it was exactly that.
yeah, yeah,
Like
for
they
sure.
LeBron even says, "No, that's a terrible idea," and then they go and do it.
They're like, yeah, but let's do it though. And then they're like, well, we're in that movie, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
like if you go one level above from like did algorithm really win? Like, are we like Inception,
He
and this is like just multiple levels down?
Yes, he technically won. He did what he was supposed to. Like he's still pulling all the strings.
Yeah,
Like and like like I said, just the idea of sort of like the idea of like a woman's just sitting by her computer and then she gets an email from a computer program. It's like, oh, let's remake RoboCop, and then it's just like
yeah,
and it like kind of a lot of
yeah.
commentary on
Like, well, no,
current movie
that was,
culture.
no, I kind of agree with you. It's almost a meta commentary on the way like movie production works nowadays,
Like,
in that it's like what's old is new again, just
mhm.
because we have no more good ideas left. But I mean, that's exactly what this movie was.
But I think it mostly like targeted itself at like millennials and
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I think um as much as I want to like shit on just the random references that didn't make sense, like a Casablanca reference was just like, okay, this is like that's like grandparents age movie. Like
yeah,
that
that
was a
was a
little
little weird.
outside the main box, but like
I mean,
I, I I feel like this movie did target its audiences well enough that like adults would find stuff can kind of like, and kids can probably find stuff they kind of like. Even though, is there even like a Looney Tunes show out nowadays? Like, where would kids encounter Looney Tunes to know who they are?
I think there was, but hold on, let me check something really quick. I want to see if Cass like
Like, I was listening to the Castle Super Beast review of this,
yeah.
and they were saying that like they read a review about how some kid had to be dragged out of a theater because he wouldn't stop freaking out over Big Chungus. And I'm like, is
Oh,
Big Chungus the only way
I
kids would know
forgot
about
that
Bugs?
they had Big Chungus.
Yeah, they made a Big Chungus reference, and I'm like, is that the only way that kids would know about the Looney Tunes nowadays? And I'm like, because if so, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, they made a Big Chungus reference. Their Bugs Bunny did the fat Bugs Bunny thing. Whatever is the makes the most sense in saying that.
Was Wonder Woman okay? So here's another question I had. Was Wonder Woman? I'm sorry, Gal Gadot. Was she actually voicing Wonder Woman?
I don't think so. No, I think that I don't think that was in the budget.
There wasn't enough accent.
No.
Uh, but I mean, like also the idea that like when LeBron's like, oh, let's get like Superman, the Iron Giant, Batman, whatever, and it's just like, oh yeah, all of that makes sense. Why would you want Bugs Bunny on a team? Um, and like they kind of the only reference they really make to the first movie is they're like, oh well, we've done this before, and
Yeah, yeah, they were like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they were very subtle allusions to the first movie. Like, there wasn't anything direct other than maybe like the Michael Jordan thing.
yeah, I mean, and honestly, I think I would have liked the movie a lot more if he was in it. I mean, not a lot more, but I would have had like
It would have been
more
really no.
nostalgic
So like,
feels.
yeah, fans of the original one would have really loved if Michael Jordan actually showed up. Like, yes, the Michael B. Jordan gag was funny, but like Michael Jordan actually showing up, like having it like legit tie to the first movie,
And then
I
having them
think
play together
fans would,
too would
yeah,
be
I think
cool.
fans would have liked it a lot more. I agree. Or like Michael Jordan showed up to coach, or like Michael Jordan showed up to give LeBron like a tip or something like that.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
just any, yeah,
yeah. I mean, because like Bill Murray shows up in the halftime of the first movie, and he's just like, oh, like I'm friends with the director, or whatever, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. They have Bill Murray in it, and then they sort of like I was like, who are they gonna bring in for the halftime reference? And then they just do like Michael B. Jordan, which is it's funny, which was a good laugh, but still, it's like,
it
eh,
was, but it was a cheap laugh. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it wasn't. It was very like momentary, and then it's gone. Like, at least in the first one, when Bill Murray came in, I didn't he play with them for like
yeah. He played with them
uh
on like in the
for
game,
like
yeah.
yeah, he played with them in the basketball game for like one quarter or something like that. It would have been more cool if like they had like Michael B. Jordan come in to play and he was just bad at basketball, like something like that. Make it a little bit more quirky.
Yeah, like maybe they just like instead of like there's a shadow of him walking in, and then it just cuts to Michael B. Jordan playing basketball with them. And they're like, this guy sucks, and then it's
Yeah,
just like, you know, it's whatever. And I don't know. It's just like no one really from the first movie was. It felt like was involved in this one besides the actual Looney Tunes. Uh,
Yeah.
which I don't know. I mean, I thought the idea of them going to like each Toon World was kind of interesting, but it's like
Yeah, no, I thought it was kind of cool. Like them going, like as much as I want to talk crap about it for being kind of like a cynical, like WB owns everything, like you've seen or ever watched kind of thing. Like it was kind of cool seeing all those other different universes referenced, and with the Looney Tunes and how they interacted with them. Um,
yeah.
like, and the fact that I mean, again, like, have the Looney Tunes even been relevant in years? Like, do they even have a current show?
I
Like,
don't know. Let me see here. Hold on.
I don't. But that's the thing. I don't even think they have a current show. So like, I kind of wonder if kids going in to watch this nowadays would be like, who are these other than the big Chungus meme? Like, who are these characters? But yeah, I mean, it was cool. It ended up being better than I thought it could be. As I said, I would give this like a matinee or rental. If like you wanted to give it on the double toasted rating system. Um, Uh, as I said, I thought Don Cheadle was terribly cast for this. I thought the script could have been tightened up. Uh, but I still enjoyed it at the end of the day. Was it the first one? Was it as charming as the first one? No. Still thought the first one was better.
Yeah, I
But
would agree.
it definitely wasn't. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was better. It was good. Like I'm surprised that I actually enjoyed it. Um, again, I feel like I said this last week, but it's like the movies we've been picking lately. It's sort of like it's best if you just kind of turn your mind off and just try to
Yeah,
enjoy it for what it is, and
yeah.
not don't think too hard about what
I'd agree with it. Like
the
very few of the
plot.
scripts. Yeah, I would say like very few of the out of the last three movies we watched, like none of the scripts have really held together under scrutiny.
Yeah.
But they've all kind of been endearing, like in the last minute. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like it's just like popcorn and beer movie. Like you're hanging out with your friends, you want to watch something, like throw this on and just have a good time. It's like I don't know if you've seen Bill and Ted 3, uh,
I haven't seen Bill and Ted 3 yet. No.
but that's a great movie where you just you turn your mind off, you have fun, and it's just stupid fun. It's not going to be like serious fun, or it's not going to be like Avengers Endgame, even though that movie's just fun in general.
Yeah.
But
It's not gonna be winning any awards, but it's still
no,
enjoyable.
yeah, and I do again I do think LeBron was a way better actor than I expected him to be, um, and but yeah, I think they could have done more, but I guarantee you, like, there's no way that they could ever make Space Jam 1 today. Like, and have it be not only because like have it be the same success, but also because how much it would cost to make that movie today, I think would be ridiculous.
Well, as I said, kind of agree with like. I think my take on it is that like if they tried to make Space Jam 1 today, unfortunately this is what it would end up being. Because I feel like studios can't resist meddling in their properties. And like I feel like there were a lot of like Warner Brothers references um in the first one. Like I think didn't they weren't they on the WB lot for a second or something like that? Or like
Yeah,
the fact that
yeah.
like Bill Murray shows up because he's like, oh, I'm just friends with the director. Like there were a lot of like kind of like vague or subtle references to like
Well,
movie making culture
yeah.
in the first one. And I feel like this is just the like 2021 dialed up to a million version of that.
Well, I
Where
mean
like
that's true actually. He Bill Murray was friends with the director. That's why he's in the movie. Like
yeah,
it's verbatim the truth. Uh,
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like this is like the cynical 2021 version of like what would have happened in 1994.
yeah,
Um
it's just it kind of goes back to like again running out of ideas and sort of like making it the same movie over and over again. And we're never gonna get popcorn movies that aren't like big names like Godzilla or you know whatever King Kong, something dumb. So, like basically B movies are what people make now. You know,
Yeah.
they don't make like what is it?
Well, it's kind of like the same thing with video games, where like
Independence Day.
everything has to be like AAA now by big studios. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
a big studio can't put out just like a double A game that's like just like
open
kind
world
of heartwarming.
sandbox shooter,
Yeah,
typically, or sports game is really
yeah,
what sells nowadays.
what like indies have kind of filled that role out, and now like unless it's like a multi-million-dollar budget, like a big studio won't even touch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's I mean in it, which is a shame, but you know, it's like I don't think we're ever gonna get something like the Three Amigos or like just something weird like that
Yeah,
where you know I mean sure if something's successful it's gonna have a sequel, but I do think it's gonna probably be set more to like a streaming service or something like that instead of going to theaters. I don't even know how much longer streaming services are. I mean, I'm sorry, movie theaters are gonna exist. Like I kind of feel like their
yeah,
days are
it is
numbered.
kind of weird. Like, definitely, I mean, I know COVID sped this up, but it definitely like the content push to put movies onto streaming platforms instead of having them in traditional theaters was definitely sped up.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Like
because of COVID
I
and
don't
by the current year.
like Mortal Kombat, like the newest one.
Yep,
Like in like I think that movie sucks personally. I hated it. But I would never like I would probably go see it in a theater and then be mad that I saw that movie in a theater, you know, um
yeah,
because it was
yeah.
so bad.
That's the thing about like that's the kind of cool thing about having movies on streaming services is that like if you're not paying any extra for them, it's a sweet benefit.
Right.
Uh, if you're having to pay like $30 to watch a movie like Mulan and it ends up being terrible, I think it's no longer a benefit. You know what I mean? It all depends on how the streaming network decides to roll out new movies.
I will say that like I did pay $30 to see Mulan, and I think like the first day it came out or something, I was on a date and we were like, oh, let's watch Mulan because she was a big fan of the first one, and so we watched it, and
It's great.
I will,
First one's excellent.
yeah, the first one's great, but I will say that the new Mulan, the real problem is it had no soul compared to the first movie. Like it was like everything you liked about the first movie was not in this movie, and I don't in that movie. But
No
anyway,
Mushu,
no
no song.
Mushu, no songs, just like an orchestra version of all of these silly ass songs or whatever, and it's just not as good. But yeah,
Generic action movie.
yeah. I mean, this movie kind of like attempted to do something different, but just kept all this. I don't know. I do think it is different. Space Jam: A New Legacy. I do think it is
Yeah,
different from the
it is
first one.
like, and that's what I'm saying. I like that it was a different story than the first movie. Like this movie was about a father's relationship with his son, which is not the story of the first movie. First movie is more of just about like Michael Jordan needing to save the tunes from being enslaved by aliens. Um, I liked that it was a different story. I liked the relationship between LeBron and his son as portrayed in this movie.
Yeah,
I thought LeBron kind of came off as kind of a cringy dad early on in the story. But he kind of redeems himself later on in his interactions with the tunes and like when he finally realizes his dumb mistakes.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I mean, as I said, I liked the changes. I just thought the villains were bad.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was like it had Marvel syndrome where the villains are always the worst part of the of the story.
easily. And I thought the script could use some tightening up, but this was definitely better. When I was watching the previews, I was like, this is going to be the worst movie of the year. And
Uh, Quintessence.
now
Oh,
I'm
hey Gaki, what's up, man? Yeah, I don't know. Like Quintessence was saying, he thought it was the worst movie. Um, but I don't know. I I
And
sort
now I'm
of
like, it may or may not be the worst movie of the year, but not because it's a bad movie. You know what I mean? Like it's not terrible.
it's not The Room.
Yeah,
It's not The Room. It's never going to be The Room. But yeah, I do agree that Quintessence isn't always the biggest fan of things at Gaki, but it is what it is. Um, I do think that I had fun with the movie. I do think, yeah, I completely agree. The villain was just trash and like not trash, but just not very good. It seemed very uninspired, and it was just like, how quickly can we hit all of these things, and why do we need to do them? Okay, does that need a why? No, just do it. And that's just
yeah. Like
with the
it, as
movie.
I said, like they didn't set up the motivations properly. The villain should have been funny rather than kind of cringe. It was just as I said, I don't know what like I mean other than the paycheck, I don't know why Don Cheadle agreed to this because it was not a good fit for him.
Yeah, and actually, now that I remember, they had the one other reference that they did have the first movie was they brought back like the aliens.
Oh yeah, the aliens show up in the scene. Yeah,
Yeah, they showed up and they were like disappointed that that the Toon Squad lost, but I don't know. I felt like they had no skin in the game, so
yeah.
um, actually,
It was just a pandering reference to the first one.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, I, I don't know. I would if it was me, I'd say it's like a 7 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10. It's watchable. It's a good movie. Drink some beers, eat some popcorn, watch it. Don't think too much about it. Um, and I would say definitely like give it a rent for sure.
Yeah,
But
I'd say it's a rental. Give it a rent. Give it a
yeah,
rent when it comes out.
and I mean if you have kids, it'd probably be a good movie to watch with them. I think kids would definitely enjoy it. It's kid friendly. Um, so it's I enjoyed it. I kind of like I enjoyed it did have charm and a little bit of like I don't want to say finesse, but it had like an interesting way of spinning things to kind of make you like the movie, especially near the end. There was a part where like it was like really sad, and I can't but I can say that, but I can't remember what the exact scene was. It was
Was it when
probably
Bugs
when
was dying, or was it?
I think it was when like LeBron was talking to his kid. Um,
Oh yeah, there was that. I mean, there was that scene where they hug on court. That was cute.
yeah, it was like a very serious conversation, and
Yeah,
it's like, oh, we're gonna get real for like 2 seconds, and
I
then
thought LeBron definitely overacted in that scene, but it was still cute.
yeah, I mean, I don't expect much out of him, so
Yeah,
um, but yeah,
the
man,
child actors were fine in this.
yeah,
Nothing great, nothing bad.
yeah, because they had no screen time.
Yeah, they didn't have to do much. I mean, even the son Dom didn't have to do much, but he did it fine.
He just showed up.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was an annoying kid, but then again, he was supposed to play an annoying kid, so it was just like you let him off easy.
yeah, man, I totally agree. So what do you think, dude? You think we should